Welcome to the What Up Doc University podcast, your number one resource for total body wellness. Here's your host, Dr. Mike.
Hey, if this is your first time listening to the What Up Doc University podcast, or even first time listening to me, Dr. Mike, I'd like to welcome you. I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day. And, we have such busy schedules in our lives today. For you to take this short time to get to know, the What Up Doc University, myself, and the information that we have to pass on to you. And I commend you for taking your health into your own hands. I wanted to kind of do this introductory podcast or inaugural podcast, whatever you want to call this, and kind of give you a brief introduction on why we're doing What Up Doc University and how it all came about. So I've been traveling around the country and doing all types of health engagement talks all around, even in my office. And one of the things that people come back to me and always say is, Doc, you got to do something online or make a podcast or put out videos and all this stuff. And I never really got around to it. And then after hearing it for about the 1,000th time, I said, you know what, let's do this. And there was a couple reasons why I wanted to do this. One is because I didn't want to keep repeating myself over and over. It gets to a point where I find myself repeating the same things over and over, and it would be easier if I just recorded myself. I thought one day. So I finally got around to that. Secondly, is I wanted this information to reach a wider audience, and the reason being is I know that there's a lot of people suffering in our world, and a little bit about myself. You're going to hear in the interview just shortly my story. But I grew up in Hawaii, and amazing childhood. Don't get me wrong. Well, my grandmother, she suffered from kidney disease, and she was on dialysis for a few years. And I saw her suffer. And after being on dialysis, she lost her battle with it and passed away when she was 61. And she was very dear to my heart. She was like my second mother. And that really set the course for me. That really opened my eyes to the world of medicine and the world of our healthcare. And I looked at our healthcare system and I said that we need to do something different. And obviously, it's not the fault of our healthcare system. It's really our own fault in that we're not, one, taking our health into our own hands, and two, we're not given the proper information about our health. I mean, you look at the media and all that kind of stuff. They're not really promoting health. They're really promoting disease, actually. And so I made it my life's mission to really focus and find all the things in life that will help enhance your body, enhance your wellness, and give you the life that you want to live. Not necessarily you being trapped in your body, but you being free. And that's the whole goal of What Up Doc University, is to give you and deliver that information to you, and do it in a way where it's fun and not like a lecture, because nobody likes to be in class and hearing these big gargantuan medical terms, because we don't understand that. So what I want to do, and what I do really well, is I break it down so that the average person can comprehend it and really take it in and relate to it. And then more so is take that and make it actionable and really take it and improve their health. And that's the whole goal of What Up Doc University. We're going to, bring you quality blog posts, this podcast. We're going to have videos and even courses that you guys are going to be able to take that will actually give you more in-depth information. And I'll give you all the stuff that I learn, and more so what I use in practice every single day to help my patients. A little bit about myself. I've been in practice for 10 years now. If you're listening to this podcast years or months from now, whatever it is, this is the year 2015. So I've been in practice for about 10 years now. I'm a holistic chiropractor. I'm out in Southern California, and I've been having fun. I've been having fun being in practice and treating patients and seeing people go from not having their health and not having their life to getting their health back and to getting their life back. And for me, I don't look at it as a job, but more so as a calling. And it's something that I need to do to help others, but also, I mean, it inspires me and it keeps me going. And so with this podcast, it's basically an extension of what we're doing in our practice. My practice is called Velocity Wellness Center. And we love treating people, and we love treating people like family. And that's what we're going to aim to do here at What Up Doc University is we're going to treat you like family, you know. So interact with us, you know, find us on, you know, our Facebook page at facebook.com/whatupdoc. You can go onto our website and you can register as a member, or, you know, comment on our blog posts and be interactive. Find us on Twitter at, you know, at whatupdocu. We love to hear from you and we love to interact with you. And we look forward to helping you gain your health, or if you're already there, we're going to help you maintain your health. But whatever it is, we want to make sure that you're living the life that you're supposed to live, not being trapped in your body, but living life and not letting life live you. That's the biggest thing. So this inaugural podcast is something actually that I did a couple, what is it now? A few years actually. I did this interview on another podcast, and I talked about environmental toxins and how it affects our health, and it's a two-parter. So stay tuned for the second part. And this affects everybody, guys. So make sure that you share this with your friends and family. And so stay tuned for after the first one. You're going to hear the second one. And subscribe to our podcasts. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher and Blueberry, and, you know, you name it. Look us up on the internet. You can find us at anywhere. And with that, I'm going to leave you with our podcast.
Okay, well, I was born and raised in Hawaii and grew up in the beautiful state, the 50th state, and I went to college in Oregon. And my whole goal in going to college was I actually wanted to become a physical therapist because I wanted to be involved with sports medicine. And I kind of had a shift in my direction and into what I really wanted to do. About my junior year in college, my grandmother passed away from, she had kidney failure, but she passed away of a heart attack. And she had been on dialysis for 6 or 7 years. And during that time when I was in college, when she passed away, I was involved with biomedical research at Oregon Health Science University in the cardiology department. And I really took another look at what we were doing in our society as far as healthcare. And it was really a negative thing for me to see my grandmother pass away at the age of 61.
That's so young.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, she was 61 years old, and you tack on, you know, those 6 or 7 years being basically incapacitated and being strapped to a dialysis machine, you know, every other day.
Yeah.
And I saw that our healthcare system really wasn't doing anything to improve the quality of life. We were extending life, you know, granted, but the quality of life wasn't there. And one of my mentors and a couple of my friends kept mentioning to me, maybe I should look into, you know, something else. Maybe I should look into an alternative field. And they kept mentioning chiropractic. So I went to chiropractic school, and I really didn't know what chiropractic was about. I know I thought, you know, neck pain, back pain, and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah, I think that's what most of us think.
Right. You know, you got a headache, you got a backache, you go to a chiropractor. And it wasn't until I was about a year and a half into the program where I suffered from, you know, a shoulder injury that wasn't really injured. I couldn't use my arm. It was really difficult for me to use my arm. It was almost paralyzed. And, you know, tons and tons of doctors, they were trying to treat me, you know, x-rays and all that kind of stuff, and nobody could really figure out what was going on until another doctor came, and he took a look at me. We ran a bunch of tests and did all those things. He gave me the proper nutrients. He gave me a proper chiropractic adjustment. We worked on different things in the emotional aspect, and within 24 hours, I was able to reuse my arm. And wow. I called him up the next day and I said, what did you do? How did you do that? And how do I learn that?
Fantastic.
And, you know, you fast forward a couple years from there than traveling all around the country and learning all these different things. And here I am today, looking at the healthcare aspect from a functional perspective rather than treating neck pain and back pain, or what we call the chiropractic aspirin.
So you've taken it beyond chiropractic, or
yeah.
So you've studied outside of that field then to look at the body as a whole unit more?
Yeah, it's actually getting back to the roots of how chiropractic was founded.
Oh.
And, when chiropractic was first founded in 1895, that was the basis. It was getting back to what healthcare was. How Hippocrates looked at the body. Using food as medicine. Looking at the other aspects of life. Toxins. Looking at how emotions affect our body. All these things, rather than it being all segregated. Because that's what we're seeing nowadays in our healthcare system is segregation. If you got a tummy ache, you go and see a gastroenterologist. If you got neck headaches and all that stuff, you see a neurologist. But everything is attached in your body.
Yes.
One thing always affects another thing.
Oh, I just resonate with that so much, because really my 30 years of study has been, or it always keeps coming back to that, like really and truly. That's why I enjoyed your site, which I'll mention it right now. Your website is akdocmike.com, and it's akdocmike.com, so that people can go and check that out even while they're listening. And that's great. So this is how you got into chiropractic. And
yeah, that's exactly.
And got, almost by accident in some ways, but also because you had an experience that really made a difference, and also because of your grandmother.
Yes.
So today's topic is, why are toxins so bad for our bodies? And so why are they?
Well, whenever we think of toxins in our environment, everybody's thinking about plutonium and waste dumps and all that kind of stuff. But it's more of a subtle poisoning that's going on. And I read this one book, and it said that there's an EPA study that looked at toxic exposure, and in 1998, I think, 1998, they said that over 1.2 billion pounds of toxins were dumped into our environment. And that's it, not really regulated. And we see that kind of stuff going on all the time. But the toxins that we're talking about is not frank poisoning. It's a slow accumulation over time.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big things that I think is hitting the news right now is plastics in our society.
Exactly.
Leeching bisphenol A, and I know a lot of mothers, especially my wife, they're concerned about giving their babies these plastic bottles because it's giving off bisphenol A, which is causing a lot of endocrine disruption.
That's right.
And it's not really a frank poisoning. It's this slow accumulation because our bodies really don't have the proper mechanisms to detoxify these man-made chemicals.
Exactly.
So what happens over time is that you have this accumulation. It's kind of like you never ever clean out your house, and you just keep storing stuff, and over time your house is going to get full. Things are going to be spilling out into the garage and into the streets, and that's basically what's happening. And that's why we're seeing a shift in the kinds of diseases that's affecting our society and our world, from infectious diseases to chronic degenerative diseases. And the healthcare system that we have right now is not designed to treat that. It's designed to treat emergent things that are happening.
Right.
Not necessarily chronic diseases.
No, because they just give you more actual poisoning by adding more and more drugs into the body.
Exactly.
So then your body has to start trying to eliminate that when they're already dealing with other things, unless it's an emergency, or like in certain cases, of course, medications are needed. But in general, people, if they go to a doctor, they don't learn about nutrition. That's for sure, right?
No. not the common medical doctor.
Right.
There is a movement, going on right now where a lot of medical doctors are kind of taking that approach into functional medicine.
That's great.
Which is a good thing, but I hope it doesn't go the route where medicine has gone now.
Exactly. Yeah, and which is money and greed.
Driven by that.
Yeah, unfortunately. So with these toxins that we're getting, so you would be even including junk food and medications and airborne or in our plastics, or are there other examples that you can think of?
One of the biggest ones that I don't think a lot of people think about is pesticides.
Mm-hmm.
Pesticides account for about 70% of the endocrine damage in our society.
Really? Oh my goodness!
Pesticides really didn't come about into worldwide exposure until after World War II. It was being experimented, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and then they found that they could use pesticides for chemical warfare and all this other stuff. And then the agriculture business, found that they could, control the growth of different weeds and invading organisms. But on the flip side of it, they really didn't know what these pesticides were doing to our endocrine system.
So can you explain the endocrine system for the listeners? Because I have an idea, but many people might not know exactly what that entails.
So basically, your endocrine system is anything that involves hormones, something where an organ is secreting a hormonal product, say like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, even another endocrine organ would be like your pancreas, which I know a lot of people suffer from diabetes.
Right,
insulin and all that kind of stuff.
So this influences a lot of areas of our life.
Oh, yeah. Your hormonal system controls almost everything that happens in your body. Anything from growth. Your brain secretes human growth hormone to, your moods, like, with serotonin secretion and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And almost every single disease out there is hormonally related. And, you look at the top 10 leading causes of death in the world, they're all chronic degenerative diseases, but almost all of them are hormonal related in some aspect. And what happens with pesticides is they act as endocrine mimickers. So what they do is they pose as a fake hormone. And the way the hormones work is they work in like this lock and key mechanism where the hormone is like the key and it fits into like a little lock and it activates some type of mechanism within the cell, which then the cell makes all these other things. But if there's something occupying the lock already, the key can't get in.
Mm.
So you have all these pesticides occupying these sites, and the hormones, they don't work properly. So it signals back to the central nervous system and says, "Hey, you don't have to make enough, or you have to make more." So we see this, especially in women, we see this huge imbalance between estrogen and progesterone. And you look at the rise in breast cancers.
Right.
Around the world. I wrote an article today about cancer awareness because today is Lance Armstrong Day, Live Strong Day.
Right.
Cancer awareness. And I said something in there where, did we evolve differently, or is the world that we're living in different?
That's a really good way of putting it. Mm-hmm.
It's like, why has all of this changed? Because if you go back 100 and 150 years ago, you can rarely find, traces of cancer like there is today.
That's right. Even
diabetes.
A few years ago. Well, it seems to have just really skyrocketed in the last few years even. Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, what's different today
mm-hmm.
than 100, even 50 years ago? Well, the difference today is, the world that we live in. we live in a fast-paced, easy access to nutrient-devoid foods and toxins everywhere.
All right, so that was part 1 of a 2-parter series. So make sure you stay tuned for the next part where we wrap up and we talk more about the environmental toxins and its effect on your health.